Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Are we meeting for the underground sandwich exchange, or we're doing a podcast?
Listen, you're going to be wishing for a sandwich very, very soon. So I think you want that idea to manifest as soon as possible. Hello,
Oh
sir.
my,
Good to
how are
see
we
you,
doing?
man.
My God, I can't believe it. I've been looking forward to literally talking. I'm gonna cry. I've been looking forward to talking to you this whole week. Genuinely, it's just been the Mike Bloom interview that I wanted to talk to. I can't believe it. What are we doing here? It's
What are we
crazy.
doing here? Look at us. Who would have thought? How are you doing right now, man? I mean, you're bubbling with excitement right now. Your face is nearly the color of your shirt. Like how's everything going at the moment for you?
It's this. I'm not gonna lie to you. The pregame has been so hard. I mean,
Mm.
this is the pregame is you can't imagine the show will be harder than the pregame, but the pregame is like you're sitting around these people that you're going to be playing this game with. You can't talk. You're kind of everybody's in a different corner of the area that we're in. It's been 6 days of this. I am such an extreme extrovert that I am dying. I'm dying.
Hmm.
We're sleeping in tents. That's a whole situation. The food's great. If you have the chance to come to Ponderosa and eat the food, Ponderosa food's fantastic. But it's just, I'm dying inside and I just can't wait to talk to somebody and just let all of this out because that's why you're here. I'm going crazy. I can't believe it.
Well, let's start, loosening the valve here. Let the steam go. So for the uninitiated, why don't you introduce yourself? Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Yes. This is crazy that I'm doing this. This is like, can I just non sequitur? I like listen to these things when I'm walking or when I'm running. I cannot believe that I'm in one. I'm going to be taking a lap around the neighborhood. I'm going to be listening to this. It's unbelievable. My name is Brandon Donlon. I'm 25 years old. I'm a content writer and I live in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
So, what brings you out onto Survivor? Obviously, due to our, association with each other, we know that you're a fan of this game. But what made you decide to go from Survivor fan to Survivor player?
So I saw Survivor for the first time when I was 11 years old, September, I believe 25th of 2008, 25th or 26th. I'm not sure. I wish I would have written that down before I got here. I watched the first episode of Gebrewold. My teacher mentioned it earlier in the day. She was new to the school and I was a kiss ass. I wanted her to like me. So I just watched the show arbitrarily to make her like me. And within 5 minutes, my jaw was on the floor and my eyes were wide. I was seeing this. It felt to me, and I've cited this for many years in audition videos, it was a religious experience. Somebody somewhere was showing me this thing saying, this is going to change your life. You just have to let me know you want in. And I wanted it. And I knew then I wanted in. And I've since then, that was 15 years ago, I've sent in videos before I was eligible to play. Like very annoying for the casting team. I've apologized to a couple of them during this process. Like you have to watch 11-year-old me. But I've been sending in videos, since 18, since I was legally eligible to play. I heard nothing for years. I kept going and going. And in September of 2021, I got the call that I was waiting for this whole time. I would read Reddit threads. That was like, what was the first call like? And then I got the first call. I got to do the process. I was very close to being on Survivor 44. That ultimately didn't work out. And I was very sad, but I had this overwhelming sense of peace that I still feel now, like this was going to happen for me, And in August of 2022, I got the final call saying, I was, do you want to do this again? You want to try this process out again? And I told Caitlin Moore, who's the best. Yeah, I told her on the phone, I will die or I will do this process every year, whatever comes first. Like you pick, I'll do this every year.
I don't know. Don't make them pick.
I'm so glad you're here, Mike. Yeah, I probably should. That's not the best ultimatum to give them, but I mean, they picked this one, so that's great. I don't have to, I don't have to pick the other one. So yeah, through the whole last couple of months, I've tried to get myself here, and now, I can't believe it. And just, again, non sequitur. On Sunday, I am petrified of flying. It is my least favorite thing in the world. I'm so scared. On Sunday, my lifelong dream of 15 years, I called my mom in the hotel. I said, I'm not going. I'm not getting on the plane. Like, I will not fly this, and my mom was like, I was like, will you be disappointed in me if I leave right now? And she said, I won't be, but you will be. So you need to get on the plane. So then I got on the plane and I was gripped to the seat. I'm sure my castmates were like, what the fuck is this guy doing? I was literally like this the whole time for 11 hours, but I'm here, seeing everybody in the airport and then being here, like, I almost missed this. This is incredible. This is literally like, I'm with a Survivor cast, and I'm not in an autograph signing in the, the NoHo Hotel in New York. I'm here with these people. It's unbelievable to me. So I'm this is a very long answer to your question, but I'm so beyond happy right now.
So I know that at least wrote down ahead of time that you are a content creator. I know you've talked a bit about like working social media for various companies, getting out of college, and certainly something that you kind of pride yourself on. So I can imagine that has also kind of probably influenced the way that you approach this application process as well, right? Like that is a form of content creation. You're about to become like a very different type of content creator, hopefully 26 days worth.
Yeah, well, I was going to say sell FabFitFun on Instagram after this, but yeah, I want to create, a lot of content in the next 26 days. But yeah, the audition process is interesting, and I can't wait to, talk about the things that I learned throughout it. Zach Wertenberger, I think, put the best video that I've ever seen about how to do the Survivor casting process. Everything that he says, I kind of echo, but it is a thing that you have to kind of practice. It's not something, if you're Bryce or Mike Turner that can send the iPhone video of 30, 15 seconds and then get on, that's fantastic. But a lot of the folks aren't like that. A lot of people don't have that thing. So if you want to get on this and you want to get noticed, it is a lot of work. It's a lot of meticulous practicing and cutting and making sure there's not a weird space or gap, whatever. And the video that I sent, worked, which I was elated. It was 3 minutes too long. I definitely exceeded the time frame, but maybe just do that. Nobody's telling you can't do that. Just do whatever you want. So that worked out.
All right, well, let's tap into your Survivor history test here. Give me one winner and one non-winner that you most closely associate with, whether it be gameplay, personal, what have you.
My winner is Mike White from Dave vs. Goliath. I think that we should all just start saying that he won. If enough of us do it, they'll change the Wikipedia page, they'll cut the tapes. Mike White is my favorite Survivor player, and I think that his game, his funny mixed with his social, mixed with his confessionals, all of that is just chef's kiss to me. So I'm saying,
are you just jockeying for a role on White Lotus season 3? Be honest with me.
Dalton just said that. No, this is before the White Lotus. I love Enlightened. I would have done, season 2 of Enlightened. This is before the White Lotus. This is a long-standing take. I have tweeted it. Mike White was robbed. Fantastic. And then I guess my non-winner, again, I don't want to be a kiss ass. Like, this is not me kissing ass. But, the guy that you're going to be doing this podcast with in a couple months, I think him, I think that he is somebody that I watched the first couple episodes of Amazon, and, I'm kind of basing that off. I mean, maybe not all of it, but working really hard at the camp and not giving anybody a reason to look at you in a way that isn't, unsavory. I want to be everybody's friend. I want to do what everybody tells me to do. And I want to be, very much team player. That's my kind of, that's my game plan for the first, and the confessionals days, man. I mean, that's like, I'm out here because I want to do confessionals. I don't want to do confessionals with Big Brother. I want to do them here with a nice, pretty scenery. But I really want to do I want a compilation at the end of this. It's like my highlight tape. That's like the Brandon Donlon confessional hour. That's the dream.
Yeah. What has your prep been like for this? Because obviously, super fan would be putting your status mildly. What have been the things you've been trying to do to try to like fully prepare yourself the most you can for whatever Jeff is about to throw at you?
I have 2 gym memberships, which is double the amount that I've ever had before in my life, which is fantastic. I was swimming a lot. I have a friend, one of my oldest friends, went to college for swimming. So he came out, showed me how to kind of refine my stuff, refine my technique. And I asked at the end, I said, am I a good swimmer? And he was like, yeah, you're okay, which is much better than I thought I was. So I will take it. I'm an okay swimmer. I learned how to make fire. My sister, who's great, got me a fire pit for Christmas that I've had my flint in every day, kind of whittling away. So I think I've been doing it in my driveway, which probably I look like an insane person, but that's been my prep. I've been watching a lot of, there's a, I think it's Survivor Geek on YouTube, puts all of the Survivor challenges up. So I watched every new era challenge, and I had a spreadsheet of, can I do this or can I not do this? And there's only like 5 or 6 that I don't think I can do, but like, let's hope we don't get those, let's hope, and if I do, I'm going to do it. This is all about, leaving my comfort zone. So if I get those, I'm in, but let's hope we don't.
What is your one life experience that you feel like has prepared you to play a game like Survivor?
In college, early college, I had 90-ish pounds of lbs I didn't really want on me, and a lot of the reason for losing that was to eventually come here and do this. I wanted to be somebody who not only could get on the show, but get here and compete and thrive and be able to, I want that immunity necklace from Jeff so bad. I want him to put it on. I want, again, I think the actual winner of Dave vs. Goliath said that he was going to use it as a Facebook profile picture. I'm not quoting him, but I want the picture of me and Jeff to, have the thing and stand like this. I want it all, and I'm not going to get that. I wasn't going to get that in the shape that I was in, just because I wasn't in shape, right? I wasn't somebody who could, be a contender here. And now I kind of feel like I can be. Like I for the first time in my adult life, I feel like I can actually come out here and be somebody who's not going to be looked at as the weaker person, which is ideal.
Yeah. So to that point, how do you think you will be perceived by others? Because I mean, even the look you have right now, man, you sort of have like the long-haired Ozzy-esque hair, but then you also have this bright, colorful, goofy
Yeah.
shirt on. What is the perception you're hoping to aim for in the game?
I have no idea. And I should have worked on that before I got here. I have no idea what people think of when they see me. I think glasses often, 99% of the time, indicate nerd, right? There are nerds here. There's a couple guys who are just nerds, dweebs, fools, and I wonder if I'm lumped in with them, but this is much like, this is a different look, right? And I don't know how I'm coming across. Again, me being on the plane, holding onto the seat the whole time, I think that I might be giving anxious, I might be serving anxious energy out here, but I hope that people, I'm so curious because everybody's taking notes, right? Everybody's got a whole list of their things, writing, initials and what they think of them. I'm so curious to hear what my spread is. I really don't know, but I think that that's something that I plan to, when I'm on the beach, kind of assess and adapt. I don't know what people think of me here. I'm curious to hear about it, but once I know what that thing is, I can use whatever that thing is to my advantage.
Well, I want to bring that sense of anxiety from the airport to the beach for you, because you did give a quote in this little blurb that you sent before from John Mulaney of, I need everybody all day long to like me so much. Paranoia will destroy you in this game. Like, how much are you trying to genuinely curb that gut telling you to freak out about something versus trying to not present that to allies that might scare them off?
Before I came out here, I asked my friends what their biggest, piece of advice for me was, right? And a lot of them shared the same sentiment that was like, just stop being so anxious, like enjoy this. Don't worry as much. When I go on vacation with my friends, with my girlfriend, with my family, I am worried the entire time. I'm worried about the flight before I get on the flight. I hate being on the flight. I get off the flight, I'm worried about where we're going to eat dinner. I'm worried after dinner that I'm going to get acid reflux if I do something too soon. Like, I don't have fun, right? And this is my life dream. I have to have fun. And I have to kind of, when I notice anxiety, not fun, right? Anxiety is the counter to my fun. So I have to just let go and let God here. I told somebody here that this all feels very predetermined to me, that I'm here. I feel when I see this group, this is my group, and I feel this overwhelming sense of peace is like, I don't know how I'm going to do at this. I hope I do well. Some people don't do well. 7 people have to not make the jury, right? There's 8 people that have to make the jury. There's 3 people that make the final 3. I don't know where I'm going to end up in that, but I feel like I want to spend as much time with this group as possible. I want to have a lot of fun, and I want to go back home loving this experience, loving all the people that I was with, and loving all of the coverage as well.
So when it comes to this group of people that you are with, your group, as you say, determined by the survivor gods, what facets are you looking for in an alliance, ideally? Who are you trying to eyeball from a characteristic perspective as like, this is someone I could go far with to hopefully guarantee myself that $1 million check?
When I was doing the casting process, I have this big brained idea of the Breakfast Club Alliance, which is getting the people on my team that are not normally associated with each other in terms of the game. I don't want 2 nerds. I don't want 2 big guys. I want 4 fours ideally in Travis 6. I want the 4 people that I think, we're different folks. We can, if we lose 2 people, we lose 2 people. But once we get to the merge, we can run it and people won't expect it. People want to group folks together that are normally grouped together. They're people that they've seen together on the show before. And I kind of want to break that mold and introduce the Breakfast Club. And then in the event that I win or get voted out, I can do the hand thing and people will go crazy for it, which is ideal.
Yes, exactly. And hopefully nobody will forget about you. Well, let me put you and perhaps these castaways in, a bit of a pre-game judgment mode, because you talk about these geeks, these fools that you're walking around with. Is there anybody in particular, just based on assessments, that you are either eyeballing as like, if I wind up with the same buff as them, I want to work with them, or this person's all giving me red flags, I don't want to associate with them whatsoever?
I'll give you a couple. There's one guy here, very tall, very nerd, right? He's Dweeb City. You'll meet him. You'll say, oh my God, that guy's Dweeb City. If he is on my team, one of us is going to leave first. I am 100% sure of it. I see that guy and we are, everybody here is smiling at each other. We are not smiling at each other. We know we are both praying that we're not together. I can tell. There's that guy. I don't want that guy. You'll meet that guy. You'll say, oh my God, that's that guy. There's a guy here who's got an afro. He's got a big, beautiful smile. He is smiling at everybody and he's got it. The thing you need to have in this game. I've been at events where I've met, Parvati, I met Parvati very briefly, but there's an aura around some people. He's got what that is. I can tell, and there's going to be, there's an RHAP draft for a winner pick. Pick that guy. Go see that guy. Somebody should lock down that guy fast. I hope you pick me, but like, if you don't, that guy's where you want to go. Those are the two people. There's another girl here, very nerdy girl, who brought a Nintendo DS and is playing a Nintendo DS in the pregame. I haven't seen a Nintendo DS since 2009. I'm so thrilled that she has one and brought it, and she is really into it. She's going hard with the DS. And I keep making looks over like, wow, that's really cool. I don't have any, I can tell she's playing Pokemon. I can tell by the card. I hope that I can fake some Pokemon knowledge. That'd be ideal.
Oh, absolutely. Got to catch them all in terms of allies. Let me throw a scenario out to you, stoke a bit of those survivor anxieties. So you're on your tribe in the pre-merge. A boat pulls up at your camp, says, we need one person to go on a journey. What is your strategy there? Do you want to volunteer? Are you trying to get someone else to go on your behalf? Because now we know sort of the positives and negatives that can come with going on these journeys.
I adamantly do not want to go. I want every inch of the survivor experience. I don't want that one. Keep that one. That one's fine. I want to be at the camp. I want to chat with people. I don't even plan to look for idols either. Like I want to convey to my team that I am a team player. I'm in, like Brian Corden from Survivor Guatemala, who won the most team spirit at that weird auction they did in episode 4 for some reason. I want to do that, right? I want to be the guy who's like, I want us all to be together. If somebody wants to go to the journey, and there will be people on my team, I'm sure, who really want to go in the guise that they will get something good at the journey, please be my guest. It's like the analogy that I thought of is like a trampoline in your backyard. You don't want to be the person that has a trampoline in your backyard, because then people are using you. They want to get to the trampoline. They don't like you. They like the trampoline, but if you're friends with a guy that has the trampoline, you're golden. You can go over, you can schmooze, that's what I want. I don't want any trampoline in my backyard.
Interesting. So you're going to try to almost sniff out not advantages, but the people who have them, and then be able to sort of associate with that.
And I've already thought of, like, in the ideal or in a situation where I see a beware advantage, I'm not picking it up. I'm going to go get somebody. I'm going to walk and chat about life or loss or whatever. And then like hope they eye it and they grab it so I can see what it is. I don't want anything on my hands. If there were normal idols here, which they're, sometimes how you don't know anymore, then I'd be all in. But now this beware thing, I'd rather somebody else. In the event that it's bad, I want to know what it is, and I don't want to be the guy who has it.
What is your biggest survivor hot take? I'm very intrigued in particular with you as to, what feisty opinions you might have about the show.
We're survivor community Twitter guys,
Yeah.
Christine, who is great. Christine has her Stanawatu podcast, right? G Worthy, also great. Fiji Forever. When I am done this, I am doing the Edge of Extinction recap podcast. The Survivor Edge of Extinction is one of the top 15 best seasons of the show. I am obsessed with it. There are people here who are walking around with merch that have Edge of Extinction on the shirt, on the hat. I'm like, when I'm done here, I want it. I will buy it. I'm going to win money here. Give it to me. I think it seems like they have a lot of excess of that. It seems like maybe they don't sell well in the CBS, but I want it. I am such a big fan. You ignore the guy who's in QAnon, and then the winner's fine, but everybody winner, good luck on Challenge USA too. But everybody else is fantastic. It's a really, really good season. I think the people who are fun are so fun. And I'm all in on the Edge of Extinction. Not the thing, but the season.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to ask your favorite moment in Survivor history. Does it come from Edge of Extinction? We talking pilots and passengers?
What? No. I'm so glad you're here. No, actually, I will tell you my favorite Survivor moment, but one of my favorite moments ever is from the Edge of Extinction, when Reem is voted out and she's walking and she sees those two signs. It's so funny because like the production office was hoping this would be a big moment and nobody really talked about it, but I loved it. Is they see the two signs of like, go this way if you want to keep going, you can leave right now. And she has a second and she thinks about it. She's like, okay. And she grabs the torch and goes, that is so cool. Goosebumps right now when I'm talking about it. Goosebumps when I watch it. It's fantastic. My favorite Survivor moment of all time is at the final 6 of Cambodia, when Keith tells Kimmy, I will leave. He's like, send me to the house. If you've got young kids, you should stay. That is what Survivor is to me, right? This is a human experience. I've written in my journal, this is my family now. Like, these are the people, some of these people are going to be at my wedding, right? We're going to get matching tattoos potentially. We don't know, and I love the idea of somebody that you can know for such this short time in such a, very specific experience, a very hard experience. You can feel so strongly about that person that you are ready to be sent to the house as opposed to keep going in the game. I love that. I'm not going to do that. That's what Dalton asked me. He's like, will you do that? No, I don't want to do that. If somebody wants to leave for me, that's fantastic. But I would rather somebody else leave for that.
All right, last question. Speaking of family, you know how I'm going to finish this up. You've been listening to these interviews. Celebrity or fictional character as a loved one, who you got?
I am here. I don't know what date it is. I think it's April 16th, 17th. On April 19th, the Power Rangers 30th season reunion thing comes out on Netflix. I am so sad that I like that is the only bad part about being here is I'm going to miss it. My celebrity loved one is Zordon. I want him to be wheeled out canonically. I want Jeff to have to get like 3 guys to just wheel him out. I know he's canonically dead. Shout out to Countdown to Destruction and Power Rangers in Space, which is a joke for 5 people who are going to listen to this, but I am all in on Zordon. I think Zordon is my final answer.
Well, hopefully, whether they be Breakfast Club or Power Rangers, you're able to find your group, move forward, dispatch with all the putties, and be able to become the true dinosaur that you are at the end of it. It's so great to see you, man. I cannot wait to see what you're about to bring to this game. I wish you calmness, peace, yet fun, to your point, at the end of the day. And I'm looking forward to talking, several months from now, hopefully when you have $1 million check attached to your name.
Can you believe it? I'm gonna cry. What are we doing here? This is crazy.
Nice to meet you, Emily. Sorry, you come eating an Oreo. Of course.
You're totally fine. Understandable Oreos. What are you gonna do?
Well, I was gonna say like, oh, I'm taunting you, but like you have the time to like cram all the food you need to before you starve yourself, right?
Yeah, here's the thing. My strategy was to slowly, pull away the food so that my stomach would shrink a little bit and I wouldn't be so jarred. But what I didn't expect was for the last week to be sitting here doing nothing for the most part, when there's a bunch of food sitting in front of me. So all I've been doing is eating, and I'm really screwed for tomorrow.
Well, before we get into all that, just give me like the quick bio line. Where are you from? What do you do?
Yeah, I'm from Maryland. I originally from Texas, but I live in Maryland now, and I'm an investment analyst. So I pick stocks for a living.
Interesting. So you think that's going to translate to hopefully picking the right allies as well?
There's so many different investing metaphors I could pull out. And I kind of want to be like, yeah, where you invest your time, where you invest your energy, like who you invest like like allies with, but like really the best, bad metaphor, but it truly is like, kind of the way that I'm going to manage my game here in Survivors is managing emotions. And I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive, but the number one reason why retail investors tend to underperform the market is because they let their emotions get the better of them when they're making investment decisions, right? Like they get FOMO, they see a stock go down and they're like, I have to sell it. And the type of investing I do, it's not day trading, it's not technical analysis, it's like long-term buy and hold investing. I'm going to buy this great company and hold it for 5 or 10 years. And that means putting your emotions aside and focusing on the long-term goal. And I see so many people watching Survivor who they let their short-term emotions like control their decision-making, whatever they're feeling in the moment. And it sacrifices the strategy that they had for the long-term game. So the way that I'm now connecting my stock picking to the game of Survivor is like, okay, let's set aside the emotions that I'm feeling in this exact moment to figure out how do I get myself to the final 3 and how do I win this game?
I love that answer. So then tell me, what made you decide to go from, bear and bull to snakes and rats? What made you decide Survivor was the game for you?
Yeah, well, let's be clear here. There's a lot of survival skills that I lack. I'm not in great shape. I'm not great at making fire. I don't know how to build a tent, a shelter. I don't even know the right terminology. Like, I think there's a lot of people that are just better equipped to come into the game of Survivor than I am. I'm already sunburned. I've been here for like 2 days. So that tells you a lot. But when I think about why I applied, it's not because I was like, yeah, I need to learn all these survival skills. I actually think that I was reflecting on my life and, decided that at some point I had what was at one point just like a really crazy, interesting life where I was doing all of these cool things. And then suddenly all of these big questions, right? Like, who am I going to be with? Where am I going to live? What job am I going to do? They all suddenly were very far behind me. Like, I've been in a relationship with the same guy for almost a decade. I've been working the same job for like 6 years. I've been living in the same place. I just bought a house. Like, and all of these things are just like, wow, this is so suburban almost, like not what I expected for my life. And so I had, I guess, a crisis one day and I was like, you know what I should do? I should apply for Survivor. And literally that same day or the next day, I can't remember, but very shortly after I applied, I got an email back that was like, hey, so we kind of liked your video. And that's when I was like, oh shit, what did I just get myself into?
There you go. That's like the day after hangover, right? From the Survivor application process. So
honestly, exactly.
Well, when it comes to, I guess, getting on the wagon with the show, what's your history with it? How long have you been watching the show before you applied?
Yeah, I've been watching it my entire life. My grandfather actually applied to be on the very first season of Survivor. He didn't get on, obviously, but it's just been a part of my family. So many Survivor stories start off that way, right? Like your family sits down to watch Survivor together. So I've been watching it. There's a lot of people who are super fans, right? Like they're building the puzzles. I've seen that in the most recent season, like 3D modeling their puzzles or building it in their backyard. They can name the boot order of every contestant in every season. I'm not so far gone as a super fan to have done any of that, but I love watching the show. I think it's really kind of the ultimate challenge. Unlike, I watch a lot of reality TV, trust me, it's like my favorite hobby. But unlike all the other shows that I watch, it's the only show I'd ever in my life consider applying for, because I truly see it as a challenge, right? Especially for somebody like me who otherwise lacks the skill to survive on an island.
Interesting. So, listen, I'm not going to ask you to name the boot order of every contestant, but can you give me a Survivor winner and a non-winner that you identify with the most, strategically, personally, however you want to do that?
Yeah, I'll start with the non-winner first because I think it's more interesting. And it's not somebody that I would have associated with until I went through this application process. And as I was going through the psych testing, the personality test, the psychologist told me, hey, your test results, they remind me like a lot of Cass's, like chaos Cass. And at first I was like, excuse me? But then I was like, wait, that is such a compliment. And watching her seasons back, it's kind of frustrating almost that she is perceived by many people to be a villain, because I like so many aspects of her personality. She's really direct, honest, intense, aggressive, all of these things that I think I kind of associate with, especially as a woman, where so many of those personality traits are looked down on almost, or perceived as too masculine. And I like the fact that she took no bullshit. And I don't know if I'm going to get out there on the island, stripped of everything, and be as awesome as Cass was. I think that's like a really high expectation. But if I could be 50% Cass, I feel like that would have achieved my goals, because she really is kind of, in my ideas, a survivor icon, somebody that I kind of associate with. In terms of winners, I'm going to take the cop out and say Sandra. And I know that she is the easiest winner to pull out because obviously she's won so many times and she's the queen of Survivor. And I'll fight that battle. It's not poverty, it's Sandra. But genuinely, for the same reasons that I like Cass, I like Sandra, which is that she's honest, direct, aggressive, has a lot of personality traits that I see in myself. And as a narcissistic person who likes myself, I like seeing people who remind me of myself winning Survivor.
Listen, it's human nature, you know?
Exactly.
What would you say is one life experience you feel, as much as you say, like, oh, I haven't prepared for this game as much as I want to, what is one life experience that probably has prepared you the most for this?
Yeah, I have to say it was where I did my undergraduate education. So when I was 18 years old, I left my home in Texas and I went to Shanghai, China to do as part of the inaugural class of the first joint Sino-American University in China. That's a mouthful. But I did my undergraduate there. I spent 4 years studying there. All the classes were in English. My Chinese is terrible. Don't ask me to say anything because I'll embarrass myself. But the student body was incredibly diverse. Lots of Chinese national students, but also students from, I think it was like 150 countries across the world, like truly incredible opportunity to meet people from, I think 150, that's way too many, like 70 countries across the world, but so many great opportunities to meet people who are just so different than myself, who come from really diverse, like socioeconomic backgrounds, life experiences, cultures, and getting along and finding common ground with people who are different than myself. It's one of those soft skills that it's easy to say, but it's different to actually experience it. And I think I have experienced it.
What do you think people are going to perceive you as? Because I mean, you just talked about an example, right? About like being in a very different type of environment. What do you think people are going to think about you when they first see you on that beach?
I'm already getting a sense, just from making eye contact with the other survivors as we're sitting here in Ponderosa, about what their impressions of me may be. And I want to be like, oh, they might see me as kind or considerate or empathetic. I mean, I like to think all of those things. In reality, I think what I'm being perceived as is the personality traits that I show most directly, which is intense, aggressive, uptight. It sounds really negative. I don't mean it to be, but yeah, I can tend to just be a lot. Not in terms of like over the top fanatics, but just the intensity and the stress that I think I bring to a situation. I think maybe the other contestants, if they haven't already picked up on it, are going to be picking up on it. It's a stressful situation. And as much as I want to be able to stop and smell the roses and say, like, I'm here for the experiences. I'm here to have a good time. And I'm sure I will reflect on this and be like, oh, it was so wonderful. I had a great time. But right now, when I'm in the moment, it's all very overwhelming for me. And for a neurotic, anxious, stick up my butt type of person that I am, I think that anxiety and intenseness is definitely rubbing off on other people.
Yeah, I mean, how tough is that for you to curb, right? Like easier said than done. Is this something you are going to try to adamantly pull away as you play your game? Or is it in a game where you can only authentically be yourself after 26 days, like just gotta live with it and hope that I work with people that are able to respond to it well?
Yeah, you put it beautifully, which is to say, if I could have been anybody else, I would be, because my life would be so much easier if I could just relax a little bit. If I was capable of unwinding and being that different person, then I would have done it already. So I highly doubt that when I'm stripped of sleeping and food, all of my family and social net, that I'm positive all of that is probably going to be intensified. I'll do what I can to be empathetic and considerate of other people's feelings, because you never want your negative traits to negatively affect other people. But when push comes to shove, I can't hide who I am. It's probably going to be really transparent. If I do try to hide it, everyone's going to be seeing me as not very genuine. I wear my emotions on my face, so it's very obvious when I'm not being myself. My hope is that people can understand this is one aspect of my personality, and as they get to know me deeper, they're going to figure out that in addition to all of this neuroticism, I'm actually really transparent and honest and an easy person to work with, because I suck at lying. So hopefully that will win me some allies, or my personality may not.
Wait, let me get into this a bit more because I want to focus on this. Like, is it that you just are unskilled in it? Is that you are more so want to pursue the truth no matter how, hurtful or brutal it may be?
Yeah, look, if I could lie, I would lie. Don't get me wrong. This game is kind of about deception. So if I was capable of giving a good lie, then I would 100% give a good lie. And I'm sure there's going to be a time where somebody's going to say, hey, are you voting me out? And I'm going to have to say no when I know that I actually am. But yeah, I think there's going to be a point where I'm going to have to say a lie. You're going to be able to see right through it. And that's probably going to be something that's hard for me to control in the game is, the fact that I'm not a great liar. But at the same time, you'll always know where you stand with me. And that's kind of an asset in a way that is maybe underappreciated initially.
Yeah. So talk to me about your competition in a couple of ways. So when it comes to an alliance partner, a ride or die, a number one, are there any characteristics in particular that you want to look for in an alliance?
Well, I already told you that I like myself. So the people that give off more of me, the better. I say that kind of jokingly, but it's true. It's always easier to initially get along with people whose personalities you're familiar with. So somebody who is kind of also open and transparent and honest would be easy for me to get along with, because I kind of understand where they're coming from, versus somebody who's maybe a bit cagier or somebody who's over the top dramatic. It's going to be harder for me because I'm going to have a harder time understanding their game. But those kind of initial impressions don't always tend to create the best alliances. They may, but you need to have a good working relationship with somebody as well. So I think my initial kind of impressions, what's going to get me through the first half of the game, are going to be those vibes, right? Connecting with somebody who has personality traits that are similar to your own, those easy alliance pickups. But the only way you make it through the later game is by connecting with somebody who's really different than yourself, who has a totally different strategy, who, is able to bring a different perspective, surprise people when you're working together, and work with somebody who is so dramatically different than you that, you end up, riding to the end together.
So let's go back to, the first impressions, what you're taking in from other people here at Ponderosa. Describe to me, is there any particular person or people right now that you're eyeballing as either if we draw the same buff, best case scenario, I want to work with you, or describe to me any person that's giving you any major red flags, I got to write their name down as soon as I possibly can?
Yeah. So initially there are a couple people who I feel like we're already kind of vibing on the same level, mostly because I'm sitting here on my, Nintendo DS playing Pokemon, and I can see them kind of being envious of the fact that I have a DS. And to me, that's like, you recognize what Pokemon is. We have something in common already. And there's a guy with long hair, glasses, and kind of a scruffy beard. And he's good vibes all around. He's friendly. He seems to be friendly, not that we can talk, but friendly enough without being over the top, being too much, trying to bend the rules. To me, just somebody who seems very easy to work with. And there's a girl who's reading books by the same author that I'm reading. She has platinum blonde hair, really beautiful, some cool tattoos. It's like the vibes are right with some of these people. There's even a girl who's walking around in these purple Crocs and like purple jumpsuit, and she's amazing. Like, I already love you. Like, anybody who's wearing purple Crocs, like, we are already on the same level. But that being said, there's also some people who are just, their personalities are so big that I know, being the irritable person that I am, it's going to grate on me over time if we draw the same buffs. And the producers, being acutely aware of my intense personality, would be very smart for production purposes to put somebody like that on my tribe. So I'm very afraid of the fact that there's going to be somebody on my tribe who is just too much to handle, who is the type of big personality who always feels the need to be in the spotlight, always needs to say something super loud. And that's going to drive me completely nutty.
So I'm going to put a couple scenarios in front of you. Let's say pre-merge, hanging out on your tribe beach, whoever it may be with, a boat shows up, guy steps off. As a tribe, you have to pick one person to send on a journey. Are you volunteering? Are you trying to like will someone else to do it? Because we know these come with both good and bad things. What's your tactic to approach that scenario?
Yeah, what I don't want to happen is for somebody else to make the decision. What I don't want is somebody, good or bad, to say, hey, I'm doing this or I'm not doing this. What we're going to do is we're going to do something like draw sticks. Now, we're going to make sure we don't stack the deck, as I learned last season. But we're going to do something that is perceived as fair. So I'm not giving anybody kind of that initial edge in their strategy if they did or did not want to go on that. That being said, if I had my druthers, I would not want to go on that adventure, mostly because what tends to happen in the modern era of Survivor is you go on that adventure and you either get an advantage or you get a disadvantage. Either way, you're coming back to your tribe and you're probably going to have to lie about it. And I feel like we've already established that I'm a really bad liar. So I feel like it's a really bad first impression for me to come back. And even if I'm being completely honest, if I know that people are like perceiving what I'm saying as potentially a lie, it comes off like I'm lying. I'm that insecure about my inability to lie that even when I'm telling the truth, it feels like a lie and people think that I'm lying. So all in all, I think it would be, as much as I want to, go, I want to play Survivor. Of course I want to go and like hike a thing and meet new people and do all these fun things. I think realistically, it would be bad for my game if I had to be the one who went on an adventure like that.
Well, let me give you a less anxiety-ridden scenario to finish things off. If you could pick a celebrity or a fictional character as a loved one for a loved one's visit, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. I don't know why I'm saying this character. I genuinely don't. But I think it's because when I was at the hotel before coming to Fiji, there was a Harry Potter marathon on, and all I did for like 2 days straight was watch Harry Potter. But I want to say Ron Weasley for some reason. Just a reassuring kind of character. I feel like he'd be very proud of me because I feel like his expectations for performance would be low, right? So like coming in, it wouldn't matter how bad I did on like the, challenge or whatever. Ron Weasley would be thrilled for me, right? And I mean, I just love Ron Weasley. So for some reason, that is the answer. And you know what? It's too late for me to change it now. So that's what
there we go.
It
is set in stone. Listen, he's a master of wizard chess. He could teach you how to play the human chess that is Survivor as well. Hey, Hannah, super excited to get to talk to you today. To start, why don't you give me your age, your occupation, and where you're from?
So I am from a town called Woodbridge in Connecticut, and I came down to Maryland for college. I went to Goucher College, which is like a tiny ass liberal arts school. And I've been in Maryland ever since. So that was 2008. So I've lived in Maryland since 2008, and I live in Baltimore City now. I got my bachelor's in psychology, and I always wanted to be a therapist. So then I went and got my master's at Johns Hopkins somehow in clinical mental health counseling. And I was a therapist for about 5 years in different settings. And then I moved into private practice just to work for myself. And then I decided, I don't think I want to be a therapist. I am burnt out on holding space for everyone else's stuff. I love my clients, but like, I love public speaking. I love musical theater. I love singing. Like, I want to do that. So I own and manage a group private practice. So I transitioned into group. And so I hired about 12 therapists. And so they all see clients, but I don't. I just manage the practice. And I'm kind of like figuring out what I want to do next.
Interesting. And so what has led you to tread the boards of the national stage that is Survivor? What has led you to Fiji?
Yeah, what has led me to Fiji was COVID. Essentially, I needed a show to binge watch, and I had never watched Survivor in my life. And like, I love reality TV, like I live for it. And I'm a big Brother fan, The Challenge, and I just never watched Survivor. And I saw that they put a couple seasons on Netflix. This was about a year and a half ago. Maybe 2 years, not even. And I was like, oh, this is everything, like psychological, like endurance, physical, emotional, spiritual. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna apply for that. And I did. I just sent in like a 30-second video being like, hey, on my phone. And I was like, yeah, this is why I think I should be on Survivor. And I just turned it over like to the universe. And I was like, we'll see what, if it's meant to be, it'll be. And then like commence this casting process. And every step of the way, I was like, there's no way this is happening. This can't be real. Like, I didn't plan or prep for this in any way. And now I'm sweating my ass off in Fiji. And it's like the most humbling, I can't believe I'm here. Like, I can't believe I'm here.
Wait, so going back to that prep piece. So is that literal? What sort of prep did you do when you found out that you were coming out onto Survivor?
So when they gave me like the yes, you are on 45, and a little bit before that, just in case, I tried like intermittent fasting and failed because I'm a hungry bitch. I tried. And like I have a Peloton, and so I did like harder classes. I tried building up some endurance. I did a lot more like physical strength stuff. And then besides that, I just kind of I think for me, a lot of the prep has been emotional. Like I purposefully read books that were about like resilience, in terms of emotional resilience, physical resilience, like mind over body kind of stuff. And then a lot of like just grounding, like mindfulness stuff, because I think that's going to give me a huge edge if I'm able to just stay grounded out there. Because I think people lose their marbles.
So I know you're a recent convert to Survivor, but a lot of contestants have played. Can you give me a winner and a non-winner that you probably identify with the most out of all these people that have played?
Yes. I think a non-winner, first and foremost, is like, can I do two? Can I blend two
please.
people together? Okay.
It's a little gruesome,
Kelly,
but yes, please blend away.
Blend Kelly Wentworth, like on this hand. I feel like my right brain is Kelly Wentworth, and my left brain is Aubrey Bracco. And like those two equal me, like I am their child. I'm like, hello, hi, I am both of you.
You do have like the Aubrey glasses a bit. I have been noticing.
I do. And like, she's strategic. I hope I'm these things, but like her whole vibe. And then especially like on her first season, her anxiety, I'm just like, girl, like I relate to you. And then Kelly, who is just like, sees fear, sees resistance, and it's just like, fuck that, I'm walking through it, I'm going for it, like that iconic tribal where it's like Wentworth does not count, Wentworth does not, just like, I want to be you, I'm obsessed with you. So I think I'm their love child. Weird fan fiction happening, but like that's what I hope. And then in terms of, and I don't know how either of them haven't won, but in terms of a winner, honestly, I'm gonna like throw it back and say Amber, Boston Rob's wife.
Okay.
And also a full human being that doesn't only have to do with Boston Rob.
Absolutely.
But I feel like she was able to kind of lay low a bit, but not play it safe. And obviously this was before the era of like Advantage Palooza, just driving everyone crazy. But like, I think her vibe of, she did perform in the challenges, but she was strategic, but it wasn't a loud, look at me strategic. It was like more sleuthy, and that I identify with and also want to emulate.
Give me one life experience that you feel has prepared you the most for this game. In a game full of big moves, you make a pretty dang big move in deciding to pivot your career. Is that something you feel is very applicable to this type of show that is Survivor?
Yeah, I would say that almost all of my life experiences, like when I did get cast, my family was like, yeah, this tracks for you. Like none of us are surprised. And like the way that it happened also of me just being like, hey, I'm applying to Survivor. And then it's like, hey, I'm going on Survivor. Like they were like, yeah, okay, Hannah. But I think for me, in terms of the physical discomfort, I think working at and going to a sleepaway summer camp, like throughout my childhood and then formative years, like summer camp changed my life totally changed my life. And also like taught me that I can do hard things and sustain the elements. Obviously it wasn't this intense by any means, but yeah, I do feel like my experience at camp is gonna help me. And this is camp. I mean, this is the epitome of summer camp, just like on TV.
Yeah, I mean, maybe like you know, a very cutthroat summer camp, but still very campy at that. I want to go back to something else that you wrote in your little blurb here, that you got sober at age 20. Talk to me about that choice. Was there something that like spurred that incident on? Was that just because again, it seems like from what you've been talking about, you are someone that is willing to make these large lifestyle choices, that being one of them.
Yeah, I would say that me getting sober at 20 wasn't necessarily just like a good idea that I had. It was like very much against my will. It was very much like, my life is over. This fucking sucks. Like, I don't want to get sober. I'm only 20 years old, but I was in so much pain from my alcoholism and the consequences. Yeah. It wasn't like one day I was just like, I'm going to get better. It was like, the funny thing is though, like a lot of my peers, you know, like they go to rehab and go to detox and all these things. And I was in a musical at the time in college. I was in Rent. I was Maureen, no big deal.
Oh, I was going to say you have big Maureen energy to me.
I know, which is like very much a compliment and also not a compliment because she's super borderline personality, but it's fine. It's fine. I'm just
She puts on a hell of a performance no matter what. It's fine.
She does. She's amazing. But so I was in Rent and I had, you know, like a drinking thing, horrible, just like things happening and like lots of consequences. And my parents were like, we're taking you out of college. Like, you need to get help. And I was like, you can't. I am Maureen in Rent. I'll go get sober. And I didn't end up sticking to it, but that was my first introduction to recovery circles in my area. And it planted the seed. And then I studied abroad in China and shit got really bad there because of my drinking. And then I came home and I returned to those recovery circles. And yeah, I've been sober since August 28th, 2011.
Wow. Congratulations. So all that being said, when you're out here on the island, how do you think people are going to perceive you? How do you think in the first interactions, they're going to look at you as a player, possible competitor in this game?
So my hope is that besides my just like natural resting bitch face, I think people are going to look at me as like bubbly, non-threatening, you know, kind of like I look younger than I am. I'll be honest about my age, but like I look young. I can kind of sound young. You know, there's a huge part of me that's like a tween and I really want to appear non-threatening. And like, you know, I have colorful tattoos, all of which are super impulsive with almost no meaning behind any of them. You know, I have like a cartoon sloth. Like, why? I don't know, because it's cute. And I think people will hopefully see me as someone they want to be around and someone who can like bring some comedic relief. And I'm not like strategizing all of the time. And I want to let other people take the reins at first and me just kind of be like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'll do that. And then I'm going to like come out like a viper and be like, bah.
So interesting when you're talking about, you know, eyeballing people you want to work with. Are there any characteristics you seek out from others? What do you desire in an alliance partner?
I desire someone, and it shouldn't be my number one thing, but like it probably is, but someone that I can just have fun with, like come up for air, because this game is suffocating. It looks like, right? Like it's just so intense all of the time. And I want someone that I can remember to like come up for air with and have fun and trust, which is fickle in this game, but trust like on a person level, like someone who I would be friends with outside of here because I just like their vibe, you know, like that. I want to surround myself with those people, and it may not be the most strategic, but I want to be as authentic as possible while also like lying about a bunch of different things. And hopefully my authenticity attracts authenticity, you know, like real recognizes real to an extent in this game. And I think my pre-sober characteristics of being manipulative as hell, like I'm gonna use those to get further in the game.
Interesting, because there's also, I was about to ask about this like occupational history. Obviously we have seen therapists like a Denise be able to use those skills really well interpersonally. Is that something that you would like to bring into your game as well in terms of using those skills on the day-to-day with these players?
I think so. I mean, it's interesting when asked this question. It's like, to me, like being a therapist isn't who I am. It's like a branch of who I am because it's what I've done. But like I was this way before I became trained as a therapist in terms of being like person-centered and all those things. I think my training like might help, but more so it's like the getting sober piece, it's the camp counselor piece, it's like all these different parts of self, I think, make me who I am. And Denise killed it, but recent therapists, and I can't imagine, how hard it is out there, but like the recent therapists on the show, I feel like almost underestimated all the other castaways because of their therapist identity. They were like, oh no, I'm like better because I'm a therapist. And I think that's bullshit. I think there needs to be a level of humility there, that like your training doesn't make you better than everyone else at all.
So when you're walking around here preseason, eyeballing these people that might be your best friend or your worst enemies for the next 26 days, is there anybody that either you're saying, okay, this is someone who, if I'm drawing the same buff as, I want to work alongside them? Or are there people that you're saying, major red flags, avoid as soon as you hit the beach together?
100% to both. There are a couple people that I've absolutely pinpointed. Like I have like a roster in my journal. I have like my fantasy draft. I'm like these people and these people, and like these are my top picks and these are my maybes. But my like definite, like, oh my God, I hope they get voted out first, and or I hope they're on my tribe because then I can put like a target on them, are two specific people who are very like center of attention. Even in this nonverbal ponderosa setting, it's very much like, look at me, pick me. Like I have to go out of my way to be seen. And it's like, bro, stay in the middle of the pack. Like we get it, and they're just very like loud, and like I am loud, like physically, but like not when I'm trying, like this is a game and this is all part of the game. So also like people who go up for seconds before everyone else has eaten, like, bruh, it's just manners. Like, I'm gonna.
Well, that's interesting because that could actually play really well into camp, right? Like when there's only so much rice to go around, if someone's taking seconds before everybody else, that can be a reason to vote someone out.
Yeah, there's this one like Russell Hantz looking guy who like walks around like his muscles are too big to handle, and like he is gonna, yeah, he will probably provide and he will catch fish and he will build the shelter, and then if he's on my tribe, I'm gonna aim to be like, let's get him out, because like he's going to be hangry.
What is your hottest Survivor take, you would say? Your most controversial opinion about Survivor?
Okay. This is weird and maybe supernatural, but like, does Jeff Probst age? That's my hot take. It's like Jeff Probst is immortal. So
could be something in the beaches of Fiji. For all you know, you could walk away with like your own picture of Dorian Gray.
Oh my God. Yeah. True. I love Jeff and I'm going to respect his marriage, but like, I love him. Like, I love him. I'm going to try to hug him. My other hot take of Survivor is that, yeah, Advantage Palooza sucks. Like, boil it back down to maybe some idols and that's it. Like, having all these different advantage flying around all the time, like, it's a lot. And maybe I'm just saying that because it's scarier for me, because it's more unknown. It's fun to watch, but it's like more things to manage, and that's very stressful.
Yeah, when it comes to advantages, right, between journeys and looking for things around camp, I mean, are you actively searching for them? Or are you just living in fear of them?
I think I'm actively searching for them, but hopefully in a really tactful way. I mean, like, maybe I'll just tell everyone that I have to poop, but like all the time, and just look for idols. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I want to find the advantages.
Yeah, they're gonna look very sideways at like the food that you're eating. Of like, okay, I don't know if I should be eating that fish if she just had some before me. The last thing I want to ask is, fun question. Give me a celebrity or a fictional character that you would want to bring out as a loved one for a loved one's visit.
Ted Lasso.
Ha! Yes, believe. You gotta believe. I think it'd be perfect to have out there.
Yes. I mean, I could come up with so many other things, but like that's what just came up because I need that level of emotional support.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, listen, he is a coach. He could give you that 11th hour pep talk when you needed it to have you surge your way through the rest of the game.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true.
Well, give me your bio line, I suppose, man. Who are you? Where are you from?
Yeah, my name's Kaleb. I'm 28 years old from Vancouver, Canada. I'm the Canadian.
You're the Canadian. Yes, I am Mike Bloom. I am a American, I suppose, representing Parade, and Rob has a podcast. How you doing right now? How you feeling, man?
Can't get good if you've been good. You know what I mean? I'm here. I'm ready. I know a little bit about the RHAP life, and even seen your face once or twice. So it's a pleasure.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. So I got to ask, what has you out right there in Fiji? Why are you there on Survivor?
I mean, there's lots of reasons. Number one, I think I was a little bit offended. We had a Canadian winner in season 41, season 42, and then what do they do in 43? They access from the profile. I mean, I was like, at home, I was like, you know, no offense to anybody here, but classic Americans, right? I got to go out here and defend the throne a little bit. So that was a big motivation to jump in and put in my tape. But bigger than that, I feel like I'm a huge fan of the show, and I'm out here to win the $1 million, you know? And the thing is, like, for me, I've never been qualified for anything I've ever done. So it almost feels like I'm perfectly qualified for Survivor, you know, whether getting my first job at 13, lying and saying I was 16 in order to go and sling pizzas in Poco, trying to make some money, becoming a lifeguard, having never passed any swim lessons, starting a painting business at 17, quitting the lifeguarding thing to do that, having never painted a house before, but then using that to pay for all my school, all my living expenses, and adding like a security arm to that business and a Christmas light arm to the business. Like, I'm always just kind of figuring it out, you know? And now I'm in software sales. What's that about? But I'm doing great there too, working remotely, been doing that for 5 years. And so I'm just a problem solver, man. Like, I just know once I get out there, I'm great with people. I'm a quick study. Like, I'm going to make it work, whatever it is.
Wow, with no offense to you, I'm kind of glad you moved on from the lifeguarding job. If you didn't take a swimming lesson before it, I feel like a lot of people's lives were unintentionally saved by you moving on from that job.
You know, I took the lifeguard certification courses, but I just kind of like, if you're athletic enough, you can kind of get by on like not actually knowing how to tread water, you know?
Well, that being said, you know, while your resume may be stacked in terms of various positions, what about your Survivor resume? What's your history with watching the show?
I got a little bit of a different history than the people you guys cast nowadays. I feel like I'm like one of the people who hasn't been watching since I've been like 2 years old, you know? I started watching Survivor. Like, the thing about me is I love, in TV shows and movies, I love good villains, you know, like the anti-hero. So starting Survivor was an intentional thing. And what I decided to do was list out all of the best villain seasons of all time and just start going at them in order. So I watched season 1, then season 6. And then I also was kind of cross-referencing based on how good the season was, you know? So it was like 1, 6, 7, 8. Then I hit 13. I did 16, 19, 20. At that point, I'm hooked, you know? And now I'm doing, like, I did Redemption Island after that. And I did, then I think I jumped straight into Kag-I-On. And then I was thinking, well, I got to go back and watch the other great seasons, you know? So then I did Run. And then I just kind of went and filled in all the blanks. So, like, I'm kind of this person who loves like the thrill of the game, who loves the TV show of the game, and the people who know how to, you know, take the moment and make a great story out of it. And I'm not talking about like the story that you compare it to your life, like a story like, you know, you tell your kids about because it was so epic. That's what I love.
So if I ask you, you know, give me one winner and one non-winner that you compare yourself to, will it be those villains that led to your sort of impromptu viewing guide of Survivor? Or are you looking more so towards the hero side of things?
Yeah, I mean, like, if I was to say like a winner and a non-winner, like one winner who comes to mind is would be like Tyson, for example. You know, I'm a guy, likes to have a good time, make sure everyone else is having a good time, makes a lot of jokes, is going to probably be a part of the life of the party, but at the same time have a lot of awareness, right? Just from working in business and having my own business, understanding the people and using humor almost to elevate other people up. So that way I can strategically put myself in the right position of the game. I think that's what Tyson did really well. Winner, you can also call him the loser, you know, and the same thing with the other guy I'd say is like probably like a Jeremy, right? Like both winners, both losers. You play this game long enough, you know, you're going to go both ways. The reason I would say Jeremy as a loser is because, you know, he played an unreal game at Winners at War, in my opinion, and even in San Juan del Sur the first time. But the thing about him is like he's so charismatic that he's just always going to be targeted, right? I think I can empathize with that a little bit and have to align other people around me in order to not be the obvious threat in the group. That's, I think, how I relate to that game as well.
Interesting. So you're going to be eyeballing some meat shields then? As soon as you hit the game, you're trying to cop that strategy from him?
Yeah, big time. I think with me, so obviously you look at me, I mean, this might be a question you guys ask later on, like in terms of how I might be perceived, right? And, you know, I'm obviously going to be somebody who can easily be considered a threat. I'm athletic. I'm one of the younger people here. I'm obviously great with people, charismatic, even if I lie about my job in sales. And so instead of trying to hide from that, and then people kind of whispering, oh, he might be a threat. You know, my strategy is almost to be hiding in plain sight and to take like this party energy and this young vibe and spread it. I want to consider myself like the golden retriever survivor. That's kind of how I see it, you know? They got a king, we got a queen, we got a jester. You know, I want to be the golden retriever, the person that people let into their yards, let into their home. And then eventually when I get to the foot of their bed and they fall asleep, you know, that's when I do my damage, right? What they don't realize is this dog, he was raised by wolves. And that's what I want to bring, that kind of energy.
I love that. Just you're barking no matter what. It just depends on what the animal is.
But the only way you can do that is to get people to let you in. And so that's my first stage of the game. Be the party, be really obvious that I'm here. I want to be Cody on the outside and Jesse on the inside. Do you know what I mean? Like, let them see what they want to see and not actually realize what I'm doing behind the scenes.
Well, you talk about knowing that you visually look like a threat. I mean, talk to me about your preparation for this. You know, were you getting in shape? Were you getting your mind in shape as well? What did the process look like in the months leading up to this?
Yeah, great question. I mean, what was the preparation? I mean, I quit weightlifting probably 5 months ago, and jumped into CrossFit, which is also still weightlifting and working out, but it's a very different type of working out, right? Like you're not like putting on muscle and getting cut. You know, I was eating a lot of carbs. Like I was really trying to put on some fat, like not only to survive, but also to be able to kind of diminish that threat level again. Did some yoga, rewatched a bunch of seasons, listened to a bunch of winner interviews. Actually, on Rob has a podcast just to get in the mind of a winner, you know? In my life, just like with the businesses I run or what I do right now in sales, the best thing that you can do is like a smart man learns from his own mistakes. A wise man learns from someone else's, right? Is to take learnings from the people who have won the game, because you put all those little pieces together in here, you know, I'm sure it's gonna be a good show.
Yeah, so going back to when you gave that like illustrious resume about your jobs at the beginning of all this, I mean, listen, it's very easy to compare to something like a 26-day game, right? Where now we know the concept is to be that shark, always keep moving. You called yourself a problem solver. How much is that going to apply to the various amounts of problems you're going to have out on the island? Do you think you're going to be able to do this sort of apples to apples approach?
It's a great question. I think with me, when I say problem solving, I guess, you know, I'm always kind of coming up with ways to be able to get the job done. But the thing about me is that the conventional wisdom might be like, hey, be a little bit quieter. Hey, you know, don't be so, you know, fun, or like try and become everyone's best friend. Like that doesn't work here. And I never really listen to the wisdom, and I always try and bring myself. And I think by doing that and trying to solve these problems, it's a really potent cocktail, because even if I'm not trying to, for example, run $1 million business, I'm going to try and have so much fun, make so many stories and memories out of this that it's going to connect with a lot of people in a way that just running the best business might not. Yeah, one time when I was running my business, right? I started like a local a running program at a local high school, like a running club. So if I could have kids run and hang door hangers for free marketing. Or another time I like photoshopped a photo of myself and I made it a second person with me in the same photo, and I would show it to homeowners and introduce them to my twin brother, Jamal. And I would tell them like,
you pretended you had a twin brother?
Yeah. And that way I'll be like, he works for me. He's like my production guy. And that way, whenever I'd be like dropping off ladders at 2 a.m., they'd be like, you know, Kaleb, were you at my house last night? I saw you like roaming around. I was like, Jamal, you know, I'm sorry, you know, you try and give your family opportunities. And this is what comes. Like, I'm always just trying to like find like, you know, the edge of, you know, obviously what's okay. Like, I'm not trying to hurt anybody, right? But what's also going to be a really fun story and a time. And I think that not only translated really well in the business, because I think a lot of people laughed and they thought that was hilarious in hindsight. But then also even hopefully what I bring to Survivor, you know?
You are like a modern day Tom Sawyer, man. That is delightful. Recruiting kids to hang signs for you. That is incredible business acumen. Let me ask about you trying to find, I guess, your like a Survivor version of a Jamal out there in the form of like alliance partners. Let's talk about that idea. What characteristics are you seeking in someone that you would hope to be a ride or die, to be a number one?
You know, the most important things, I think, number one, is somebody who has a good control over their emotions. Like, things are going to get tough, right? You're probably going to have your own name thrown out, and somebody who can manage that without kind of blowing their lid, stay cool, as, you know, James might say from a couple seasons ago, you know, that's the number one important thing for me, because I just know, like, we need to be able to play under pressure. And if we can't do that, that's going to be a problem. And the second thing I would say would be, somebody who can also get along with a lot of other people and, drive information. So I'm not the only person who's going to be out there foraging. Survivor is a game where everyone's at an information deficit, right? And you're trying to put the picture together from everybody else. And so if I'm the only person who's gathering information, that's not going to be as valuable to me in an alliance partner, right? So I'm looking for somebody who can also bring that into the game as well, while the final piece being obviously somebody who I can position as a threat, so that way I can continue to, kind of invoke some of the meat shield things that we know that work.
So as you're walking around right now, waiting for the game to start, I mean, I would imagine you're already sizing up these people that might be your best friend, might be your worst enemy. Are there particular people that you have in mind for either like, if they draw the same buff as me, fantastic, we're good as gold, or huge red flag with this person, I do not want to, get even near them. I'm putting their name down immediately in the voting booth.
So first of all, I'm pretty sure I know how the guy tribes are already going to go. So, just so I have it on the record here, right? Number one, there's going to be 3 young guys, I think, that are going to be part of the tribe. I think it's supposed to be me. I think we got, the guy who looks like he just walked out of, a gorilla out of the Colombian jungles or something like that, right out of the octagon. I've been calling him Beefcake this whole time. And then the second year, every season's got to have a little beefcake, And then the second person I have is Johnny Tsunami. I've been calling him like the surfer version of Frosty. If you watch Survivor China,
Yeah.
And so I think us 3 are supposed to be the guys. I'm yellow. If I think the big guy is red and the surfer is blue. That's how I think we start. Now I'm looking at who are the smart people on the tribe, right? I'm looking at Lanky Blanky, the really long white guy there, and Young Blood, the kid who looks like he might still be in high school. I'm not sure, right? So I'm looking at those 2 as kind of the smartest people. No one else is jumping out as being super smart from the guys. And so I'm thinking, okay, I'm a pretty smart guy. Maybe put myself in that category of a smart person. I think that Lanky Blanky's on the red tribe. I think Young Blood is on the blue tribe. If we have Lanky Blanky and Beefcake on red, I think that we're going to have to put the weakest person here, who I've been calling Hotter Geo, on that red tribe. And then blue tribe, I feel like, and this is just, maybe like spreading out the love a little bit. If we have, Meat Shield on one tribe, myself on this tribe, I think Unk, our friend revisiting from, last season is going to be on that blue tribe, which will leave me with Wayne's World. And then hopefully what I would call it, like my husband, hopefully my island husband out here, following Jesse and Dwight. So that is how I think the tribes are going to lay out. So I've been sending lots of vibes to those 2 guys, getting myself ready. If there's somebody who I'm worried about, it's the flower child. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, the one with like the earrings and everything else. And here's the thing. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. We're on the West Coast. We have all sorts of spiritualities, from Wicks to witches to, all the other white hippies that you could find, right? I know her. I have friends exactly like her. So I know like she's going to be like the backpacking, wearing the Birkenstocks, probably from Colorado in the US. You know what I mean? Like I know who she is without having met her yet. And I think that the danger with that is that I could be a person who epitomizes some of the things she morally is against. Things like consumerism, things like, being like a partier and like, if we're not doing it for the right reasons all the time, So I think I'm very wary of her. I think she's also seems very independent and somebody who might try and drum the women together for a women's alliance of some kind, considering kind of what's happened the last few seasons with women on these 3 tribe seasons. So she is the person who I'm most cautious of and the person I'm hoping will not be on my tribe, looking across the field.
So let's say I'll put you in a scenario. Boat arrives at your camp. You're on your tribe, whether or not it's your correct assessment as to, who you're standing alongside. Guy comes out and says, pick one person to go on a journey. Now, you being, Mr. Villain here, are you taking that position? Are you trying to hand it off to somebody else? Because we've seen how positive and negatives those journeys can be. What would be your strategy to that type of scenario?
It depends when. right? So in the early merge, I think it's better to hand off that responsibility. You'd rather, in my manifesto, due to be published never, because I'm never going to publish my manifesto, it says one of the rules is make allies then advantages, find allies then advantages, right? And so to me, I'd rather spend more quality time at the camp with the team. But once the tribe harmony has been more established, maybe we're more deeper into the pre-merge, then I'm definitely going to be somebody who, if I can, try and go. If the other tribe is getting to pick 2 people to go with them for, I'm making eye contact the whole time, because I definitely want to go. I want to play the game. I want the advantages. I want to, play hard. But I also know that, an idol with no friends is not as powerful as you may hope it would be. It's a one day pass. It's not a 1 season pass. And so that's how I look at it.
Absolutely. Last thing I got to ask, you've been around these RHAP interviews, so you might know how I'm going to finish. If you could bring a celebrity or a fictional character out as your loved ones visit, who would it be and why?
So to me, in my life, if you're having a great time, other people want to come and hang out with you. And in this game, all I want to do is drive allies to me. So I want somebody who can shoot the shit with, like someone I can shoot the shit with out of nothing, So I'm thinking maybe a comedian of some kind. I'm thinking like a Dave Chappelle or like a Bill Burr, someone who doesn't take themselves that seriously. You know what I mean? Can kind of remark on what's going on here, probably give a lot of material. And like us having such a good time, I feel like we're going to bring more people in, which is only going to help my game.
Well, listen, I had a great time. For what it's worth talking with you today, I can only imagine what we are about to experience, both in you immediately in the next 26 days and what we're going to experience months from now. I am so pumped for you, man. Considering the schemes you came up with back in Vancouver, I don't know what you brought in your bag of tricks in Fiji, but I'm pumped to find out what's inside of it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not calling it the bag of tricks this season. I'm calling it the tickle trunk, but there's going to be a few things in there and we'll see how it comes out. All right.
I've heard of Mr. Dress Up. I got the reference, even as this uninformed American. Well, I appreciate you talking with me, Kaleb. All the best and best of luck with everything with the rest of your preparation. And I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next with you, man. Thanks so much again.
Always a pleasure, brother. Talk soon.
All right. Take care, man. Have a good one.
Oh,
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I watch your show, so this is amazing.
Well, likewise, I'm Star Trek. I'm talking with the future winner of Survivor, so I should be.
Yeah, don't you? You better know it, buddy.
Well, why don't you start by telling me your name, your age, where you're from, and what you do?
All right. Well, I'm Sabiyah. I am from Locust Grove, Georgia. It's this little town about 45 minutes down south of Atlanta. And I'm a truck driver now. I'm also a Marine Corps veteran. So I just got out 2 years ago and I've been driving ever since.
Interesting. Well, first off, thank you for your service. I'm really intrigued as to how this transition ended up happening. Was this sort of a right place, right time deal, or did you always intend to drive trucks as soon as you left the Marines?
I had a buddy that worked night crew with me, Corporal Wolf. He said that that's what he was going to do. There was a troops into transportation course from the VA. And at the time, the trucking industry was really booming. So it was a lot of great contracts, a lot of good money. And I don't know, I just, once I got out, I did 4 years. I was like, okay, well, let me just see, how things are going. There was a lot of politics stuff going on and I wasn't really sure about re-enlisting. So I was like, I'm gonna just give it a breath, and try to do something on the civilian side. So yeah, I did the class down at Fort Benning in Georgia and got my CDL and I've been driving ever since.
Well, what made you decide to take the haul all the way out to Fiji, to drive the convoy and hopefully drive away $1 million richer? Why Survivor?
Why Survivor? Survivor is my favorite show. Okay. And I've been watching it since the beginning. So since I was about 5 or 6 years old. And it was always a family show. All we watched was this, we didn't have like fancy cable and stuff, we just had the straight up channels, that's what we call them. And CBS is one of them. And Survivor and American Idol literally were, points on our family calendar throughout the day and throughout the week. We'd be racing home from Bible study to see who got voted off on Wednesday nights. And I I fell in love with this show. It gives you everything. It's like, I'm a track and field runner by trade, and I did that in college, in Augusta, at Augusta State, go Jags. But basically, I love track because it's, my body versus your body. That's it. It's not about a ball, nothing, no politics and everything, it's just, okay, you run the time, you're in. If you don't, you're out, and I've always respected that cut and dry version of competition. And to me, Survivor is that, but okay, now we're going to add the mental aspect. Now we're going to add the emotional aspect. Now we're going to put you in a place where you literally are, hanging in the wind, to the fact, there's no cut and dry way to the end. It's just me versus you, and everything that makes me versus everything that makes you. And I love that. So I'm here.
No,
I'm
that's an amazing way to describe just like the general like base human competitive element that Survivor is, and why we're all out here not only watching the show but sometimes participating in it. It's so well put. So looking back on all the years and seasons of Survivor history, give me one winner and one non-winner that you identify with the most, personally, strategically, whatever you want to use.
Okay. Non-winner first.
Okay.
I've been shouting her out since I got here, but I gotta go with my girl Cirie. I love Cirie. Cirie Fields, I feel like it's just this certain like endearment, like big sister, mother element and quality that she brings, that is like you just fall in love. And everybody that has been in an alliance with her, getting towards the end, it almost becomes like her, Achilles heel in a sense. And I see that in myself. I see that could be something that could kind of end up rubbing me a little bit wrong down the road. But I mean, how do you turn down the Southern charm? I don't know. We'll find out. I guess got to turn up the Marine knobs a little bit, but I really relate to that, just genuinely coming across as a people person. And if you can't tell her about, you can't say that she's like a challenge beast. You can't say that she's even, she orchestrated the whole Eric thing, him giving up his necklace. So you could say that she's a strategic threat in that regard. She's always thinking, but she plays like Cirie. There's a whole bunch of people that come out here and they try to play, like Boston Rob, or they try to play like Tyson or whoever. It's very easy to kind of see the avatar that they follow. And she's one of those people that I don't know if there's ever been another one to get as far as she has with the kind of cards. It's kind of like Sandra. I don't feel like there's ever been another Sandra, even though it's kind of remarkable the stuff she's able to do. It's like, well, lightning struck twice for her, and it doesn't really matter. It's Sandra. She's a currency, out here.
Yeah.
So, and so for the winner, I would have to say Tony, because I would say I really don't feel like anyone can argue with Tony winning his seasons. Tony left it all out there, and that's how I plan to be. I don't plan to hold anything in the tank. When y'all get finished watching this season, it's gonna be like, yeah, well, she won that. Like it's not, I don't plan on it being up for debate, and that's one thing that I feel like is kind of like can be a fear for players. It's like, okay, well, like what if people don't think I deserved it? Like Michelle, she was, vulnerable saying that, but I really don't feel like it'll be up for debate. I'm going to be looking for idols. I'm going to be hiding and spying on folks. I'm going to take some notes from these greats that got their million already and then some, so.
What would you say is one life experience that you feel has prepared you most particularly for this game?
I would have to say boot camp for the Marine Corps. And that seems very extreme, but okay. So in boot camp, it's kind of like one of those places in the earth that you only go really for that, and Parris
Yeah.
Island is a very particular temperature. It's hot, muggy, and a lot of mosquitoes. So that Fiji is just that. I'm finding that out every day, and there's a place in your mind that you have to go to deal with that, where you're just constantly being just bugs. And you don't really have much relief, and you're not getting any relief. And if you ask for some, people are basically just gonna laugh at you and be like, don't you know you're in boot camp? But not to mention the weather elements, but you're gonna be pushed outside of your comfort zone on purpose. It's the drill instructor's job to break you, as a person, to really just get you out of that, oh mommy, oh dad kind of situation. Like, no, ma'am, you you came here to be a devil dog, okay? So you got to go through hell. Now this is welcome to hell, So Jeff to me is like a lot nicer than a drill instructor, but you can tell that he relishes in the suck of the situations, and that's something that drill instructors, you can see it on their face. It just makes them happy, if it's 1,000,000,000 degrees outside and you got to slap sticks and drill outside, it makes them happy that you are getting that particular iron strike, but iron can only sharpen iron, and you come out of that machine like you're supposed to, so I'm hoping that I come out the other side of this being, the toughest survivor there is, so I feel like boot camp prepped me for this, even though it's 2017, you never forget that.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine. So when it comes to, your fellow recruits in this beachside boot camp, I mean, you talk about sort of turning the knobs on this radio of yours, right? Between the Southern genteelness and the military aspect. How do you think people are going to perceive you, though, when it comes to when you actually hit the sand and start playing?
Oh man, I'm hoping to keep some mystery about me. Honestly, like, mystery can be good. It can also be bad because there's like a element of distrust, oh, well, I don't really know her all the way. But the good thing about people from the South is you trust us. I don't know why, but there's something about, if I say, hi, I'm Sabiyah, I'm from Georgia, nice to meet you, or nice to meet y'all. Somebody's like, oh, wow, I love her. I could be a killer. I could be a serial killer, but it's just, that's how it comes across. It's this endearment, like, oh man, so I hope that they think that I'm warm. I hope that they think I'm a little bit slower, because that's another stereotype that we get, oh, she has a little bit of draw that we can hear. Maybe she's not so smart, but they'd be wrong, and I'm hoping that there's a lot of just misinterpreting and a lot of people being wrong about me. I'm really hoping, because if they're right about me, they'll vote me out, and I can't have that.
Yeah.
So I really am just hoping that they're wrong. I have a lot of things in my arsenal that can make me a really big threat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're driving this truck, right? That is your game. Steer into that curve. That's what you're trained to do when you hit that slippery patch.
Exactly. We're taking this on around the bend, whether we can see the edge or not. We're
Yeah.
gonna extend.
So that being said, when you're looking at other players, is there any like characteristics you're seeking out in an alliance partner and a number one? What are you looking for in those people?
And I know this is gonna be like kind of like weird, but I'll explain it after I say it. I need people that are innately followers in the beginning. Okay. And so I'm watching for the people that don't get up to put up their plate until they see somebody else do it. I'm watching for people that don't, really act until they see somebody else act. The people that are trailblazers like me, you can't really have too many people like yourself on your team, because sooner or later, somebody's going to be a little bit annoyed, and that's when heads start rolling. So I'm hoping that I can at least, somehow meander my way into a leadership position, kind of on accident, because I have natural beta mindset. people, like people with beta mindsets. Should that not happen, I know I can turn my beta up. I'm a woman, I know how to scratch somebody's ego. It's not hard, and plus being in the Marine Corps, oh God, you haven't seen some egos can't even fit in the shop, so it's just kind of like a two-step that you do with people that, can't really see outside of themselves. And so I'm prepared for both, but I'm hoping that it's the former and not the latter.
Yeah. So when it comes to, as you mentioned before, sort of sizing people up right now, I mean, I know you can't exchange words, but like, are there specific people that you're eyeballing right now due to their behaviors or the way they come across? Describe to me some of these people that you might be saying, like, either, yes, if we pick up the same buff, I am good to go, or you're a giant red flag. Like, I'm voting you out as soon as I can. Describe those people to me, because I'm sure you're making judgments about them.
Oh, yeah. What? Oh my goodness. From day one, I've just been like, okay, well, hope they're with me. I would say definitely the tall Asian, I think he's like Asian and white guy. He looks like Tarzan, really beefy guy. You'd know him if you saw him, but I need some muscles on my team. So I'm hoping he's on my team. He seems like he has a really positive attitude. He seems like he's really kind of like more so like a gentle giant. So that could work, maybe he needs somebody to help him make those decisions. And I'm happy to listen to you and happy to pitch in, that's really, no, I will say the other guy with the afro, now he's a little bit quirky and you can tell that he's very passionate and a little bit charismatic, he has the whole, dancing all the time, he doesn't have any music playing, but you can tell that his heartbeat is his instrument, and you got to have somebody in your alliance that keeps you laughing. I know, like when we were in boot camp and stuff like that, or just on deployments and stuff, you got to have somebody that's just carrying the morale. So I feel like that could be really good for an alliance, having somebody that has that sense of optimism in the worst case scenario. Sometimes you need that when your back is against the wall and everybody's got an idol but you. It's like, oh man, this sucks. And he's like, no, if you just turn it this way, we might be able to scoot on out of here, and I need that. So I feel like those two, if we end up on the same beach, we might see what's going on. Yeah, we might have some words.
Yeah. So let me give you a scenario. Let's say maybe you're on a beach, maybe with these people. You're in your tribe pre-merge. A boat comes to the beach. Person gets out and they say, as a tribe, you got to pick one person to go on a journey. And this can come with good things. This can come with bad things. You've seen previous seasons. What's your tactic here? Are you stepping up to volunteer? Or are you trying to like will someone else to go? What are you using to approach this scenario?
Anybody but me. I'm gonna treat that with the Sandra motto, anybody but me, because I understand that this is a game of give and take, and right off the jump, I don't got much to give, but I know they could take my vote for however many tribal councils. Lord of mercy, they might take it till the merge. We never know. And I need my vote. Voting is the only currency you got in this game besides just general likability. So yeah, we're gonna have to fix the sticks or whatever the girl did, fix the rocks or what. I'm gonna be the one passing out the sticks. You're gonna see that much. I'm not gonna allow myself to get got. And I hope that I have people that are kind of over ambitious and chomping at the bit to play right off the bat, because just because they have the clue or they were told where the idol was doesn't mean that they're the one that can find it. Russell Hance found 3 idols in his season without any clues.
Yeah.
And did it again and again and again. So Tony, he was finding idols without clues. It's just, how much do you got in the tank? How much are you willing to give in that regard? Now, in that regard, if we're talking in just pure spirit and can do, I got way too much.
Oh,
but
boy.
as far as my vote, that's not up for discussion. Not this early in the game. No, sir.
Last, certainly not least, you get to pick a celebrity or a fictional character to bring out for a loved one. Well, who are you picking and why?
Do they have to be alive?
No, that could be whatever you want it to be.
Whatever I want, because it's a hypothetical anyway, right?
100%.
If I could bring out anybody, I would bring out Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. I feel like this game was made for him too. If he was out here, he would be definitely with the best of them. Just that attitude of no matter if my ankle is rolled, my hand is broken, whatever's going on, I'm gonna win. And I need some of that, I need those types of talks, and that the level of strategy, his ball IQ, it changed the game, like you're talking about the predecessor of Michael Jordan, like he carried the ship until, the LeBron era. So I feel like I need some of that Mamba mentality on this beach. And I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge Kobe fan, like that's actually for my audition. I wore a jacket that had, Kobe on it. It had number 8 Kobe when he was doing the dunk contest. But that's one of my favorite people to ever be a person. And it's just because no matter what he was doing, he was the most he could possibly be. And I feel like I'm like that, I'm wired that way, where I'm not trying to compete with anybody but who I was yesterday. So I would have to have Kobe out here, just sit kneecap to kneecap and be like, okay, well, what am I doing wrong? Because I know that you see something that I don't see.
Yeah.
And then we can talk about what I'm doing right. But I know he would pick it apart and be able to give me, a very good strategy going forward. So.
Well, I hope you're ready to dunk on these people for the next 26 days, because I think, you got a lot of initiative in you. I mean, how to, for lack of a better term, keep on trucking through the worst of it. And I think,
I love that.
Yeah, but in a game that really, tests you for who you are, I just think the headspace you have to approach it from both the physical, mental, and especially spiritual perspective is really inspiring to hear. And I can only imagine how it's going to actually play onto the beach and hopefully the days to come.
Well, here's hoping that it plays out and I'm sitting here at the end of it with $1 million in my pocket.
Absolutely. Let's manifest it. Let's put it out in the world. This was so nice getting to meet you and talk with you. I wish you all the best, and the remaining time you have to just sit there and think it through before your feet hit the sand and you start running and never look back. But I'm so excited to see what your journey is going to be.
Thank you so much. And I really don't even feel like it's crazy to say, but I don't even feel like this really hit me yet. I was talking to my dad before I left, and he said, when it's going to hit you, right? And I was like, when you think? And he said, when you're on the boats, like when they show them in the beginning on the boats and everybody's just kind of looking off into the distance. And, we're all just like really in depth. And then we step out and we're on the beach on those mats. Now it's going to be game day, game day mode. So I can't wait. And thank you so much for having me.
Hello.
Oh my goodness. Hello. I feel like I'm meeting with a celebrity right now.
Oh my goodness. The pleasure is all mine. But we need to be properly introduced. I'm Mike. Very nice to officially meet you. Give me the bio line. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
Yeah, my name is Sean Edwards. I'm 34 years old. I live in Orem, Utah. I'm an elementary school principal.
Awesome. How long have you been doing that for?
This is my first year as an elementary school principal. Prior to this, I was 5 years a high school vice principal.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's like moving up, but moving down at the same time, in a manner of speaking.
Yeah. Yes, totally. In so many different ways.
So what brings you out to play Survivor? A very different type of, environment than the classroom, though probably just as unruly.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to be like totally crazy out there. Survivor has been a part of my life ever since season 1, episode 1, and I've followed the show. I've been a super fan for so long. I've wanted to play Survivor ever since I was a preteen, teenager. And for the longest time, I just never had the confidence in myself to actually apply. I never thought I would get a chance. I never thought I'd be casted and just wouldn't get this opportunity because I grew up in a very kind of conservative niche rich and being gay was, incredibly complex for me. And so I just really internalized a lot of beliefs in such a way where I just didn't believe in myself. So now, fast forward so many years, I'm at a spot in my life where I'm finally like open and free, and I'm just like ready to be authentically me. And I finally have the confidence to say, not only can I apply, get on the show, but I can win.
Yes, talk to me about that process. Was it a matter of like finding the right environment or like gaining confidence in yourself? How did that beautiful metamorphosis end up happening?
Yeah, great question. So for me, kind of rolling it back a little bit, again, growing up Mormon and gay, incredibly hard. I started conversion therapy as a minor, which is now banned in so many states because I was so set on trying my hardest to live a faithful Mormon straight lifestyle. And so that was really, really challenging for me for so many years. I went and did a 2-year Mormon mission. And so I was in it, right? Now fast forward a little bit to after my mission, in 2013, I was really having a hard time just trying to find myself. Who am I? What type of space do I take up in this world? Who do I want to be? And in 2016, after really going through this mental battle, I decided that the best thing I can do for myself, the only way I'm going to be truly happy, is to be authentic and true to who I am. And so that's when I told my parents, I said, I'm gonna start dating men and I'm going to be committed to being myself and living my truth. So very soon after doing that in 2016, I met my now husband, Matt, and my husband, Matt, and I are huge fans of the show. It was one of our very first connection points when we started dating. And I mean, at our wedding, we had a soda bar, so Mormon of us, soda bar, but we had a drink at our mocktail bar called The Tribe Has Spoken. So, I mean, Survivor is a part of our lives. And I just remember after watching season 40, Winners at War, Jeff Probst came on the screen and said, hey, if you want to be on Survivor, all you got to do is apply. And that was my moment that was like my spark. I was like, I'm finally at a place where I can do this. I have the support of my husband, of my family. I'm in a really good spot. This is a dream of mine. Let's do it.
Yeah, so let's look back on the past to speak about your present. Give me one Survivor winner and one non-winner that you would say you compare yourself to the most.
Ooh, I love this. Okay. The winner that I would compare myself most to is Todd Herzog, Survivor China.
I would imagine, obviously without, putting your words in your mouth, but I would assume those similar backgrounds would help translate to it.
Yes, totally. For sure, right? And not even just on a personal level, in the fact that he also grew up Mormon, he identifies as gay, he lives in Utah. I mean, there's so many different personal connections, but also in terms of gameplay, I feel like he was able to go out there and create really strategic partnerships with people that he was able to leverage him further in the game. And when, someone no longer served his gameplay needs, he said, Frosty, goodbye, see ya. And I feel like that's totally something I'm going to be able to do. I totally, am going to be able to make and have those relationships to further myself in the game. A non-winner, I would say, so many good options. I mean, the first person that comes to mind is Sari. I love Sari. I know she's a fan favorite. I'm sure so many people tell you that all the time. Sari. But for me, she is so genuine, and she is able to be a master at making connections with people. And that's something as an elementary school principal that I have to be a master at as well. It's something that I've practiced in my professional life, in my personal life. And so connection seeking and building is going to be a strength of mine.
So you talk about being a super fan, so you obviously know practice hopefully makes perfect in the game of Survivor. Talk to me about your preparation. When you knew that this was going to become a reality, what have the past few months been in terms of getting ready for this moment?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of preparation. I know it may not look like I've been going to the gym, but I promise I have been physically preparing for Survivor for sure. I mean, for me, it's been a lot of endurance training. So you'll catch me on that stair stepper for hours, just going, building that cardiovascular and respiratory endurance. I feel like that's definitely important. And then I've also been doing, lots of like mind puzzles, my husband and I found this like 3D puzzle that we like building and creating together. And so we've been doing a lot of not only physical, but also mental practice as well.
How do you think people are going to perceive you in the game? Because you come from a position, right, where people are relying on you every day and certainly viewing you in a certain way. Does that translate over to the game, or do you think in this very different situation, people are going to view you differently?
That is such a great question. I think people are going to view me differently than people that are familiar with me and people that know me in my everyday life. When people first meet me, they really think that I'm just here for a good time. I'm the life of the party. I, don't have any agenda. I'm just here to have fun. But really, and another thing people really think is they always assume that I'm younger than I really am. And so when people find out my age, what I do for a living, they're always shocked and surprised. And I think people are going to perceive me as someone who's a lot younger than I really am. And so hopefully, I'll be able to use that to my advantage.
Interesting. Yeah, from like an occupational perspective, obviously, as a principal, I'm assuming you are facing so many different fires that you have to put out at so many different times. In a game where fire represents your life, how are you sort of translating those skills? Do you feel like your day-to-day will help in the game of Survivor ultimately?
Oh, for sure. My day-to-day life as an elementary school principal, I am going to bring so much of what I do into this game of Survivor. I mean, one thing right off the top of my mind is, again, those relationships. I mean, my entire career is founded on the importance of human connection. I just finished my doctorate degree at the University of Utah as well, and my entire doctoral research was on human connection. And so that is something that I'm very well versed in, that I feel very confident in. And that is something I'm going to be able to bring into the game, connecting with people on a very meaningful, personal level. And those connections, they're going to be real. We're going to make friends. We're going to have fun. But this is a game. This is Survivor. And I'm not here sitting on a beach in Fiji to make friends. I'm here to win $1 million. So we can be besties after I vote you out, but the connections will still be real.
So talk to me about those connections possibly manifesting in a strategic way. What are you seeking in an ideal alliance partner? What characteristics are you looking for in a number one?
For sure. Something that I value, again, bringing my everyday life into the game because it will serve me so well. I am looking for alliance partners who are going to think differently than me. I feel like diverse perspective is very important because people who think differently than me, they're going to be able to see nuances in the game. They're going to be able to suss people out. They're going to be able to have ideas that maybe I'm not going to readily see, notice, or be able to come up with on my own. And so definitely someone who thinks differently than me is important, as well as someone who's also going to buy into my ideas.
So let's translate to the human aspect of the people sitting around you. Are there any people that from a first impression you're saying like, okay, this person, if we draw the same buff, fantastic, best case scenario. And on the other hand, are there certain people that you're judging and saying, okay, giant red flag here, I'm writing your name down as soon as possible?
Of course. Oh my goodness. Okay, seeing everyone here, everyone is looking at each other. You can see people like sussing each other out. So yes, I've had that thought like, okay, I'm reading your energy, I'm reading your vibe, I'm right there with you. Let's do this, let's go. And there's other people that I'm like, okay, like, are you going to be someone I'm going to be able to get along with? Your body language is telling me you're closed. I don't know. I'm a little hesitant. At the same time, I also want to be very cautious and careful, and I want to think about implicit bias and how that's influencing my thoughts about others. So really, really, truly, I do want to come into this game. I want to give everyone a fair chance, a fair shot. Even though I may have some preconceived ideas, I'm going to try my best to give everyone a fair chance.
Let me present a scenario to you. So let's say pre-merge, you're on the beach hanging out with your tribe, a boat comes, someone steps off and says, pick one person to go on a journey. Now, we know these things come with good things and bad things. What's your tactic behind this? Are you volunteering? Are you trying to like get someone else to go? How are you approaching this scenario?
That is such a good question. I mean, you're exactly right. Watching the show, you never know like what's going to happen when you go on this journey by yourself. Not only is the person going on this journey to possibly gain something good, or maybe something bad's going to happen, losing a vote, who knows? But the key is that that person's missing from the tribe. The tribe is still moving. They're still talking and having conversations without you. I don't know if I want to initially put myself out there and have that target on my back of what if he comes back with something and doesn't tell us, and, you know, we're all going to be talking about it. So I think my approach would be kind of like let's draw sticks, let's draw rocks, let's have it be randomized, and whatever happens, happens. But I don't know if I would necessarily be like, oh, pick me.
What is your hottest Survivor take? What do you think is your most controversial opinion about the show, about a player, etc.?
Oh, Mike. The idols, too many. Are there too many hidden immunity idols now? And then also production giving people fake idols? Like, I definitely have questions about that.
Yeah, so is that going to influence the way that you are approaching your own game, knowing that, like, if you find an idol in the jungle, there's still a chance that it might not even be real?
Yes, 100%. I'm like already thinking, if I find something, how do I even verify the validity of whatever it is I find? The only way is to be like, Jeff, I think maybe tell me at tribal council. So I'm definitely going to be having questions about anything and everything that I find out there.
All right, last but certainly not least, you know how I'm going to finish off these interviews. Give me a celebrity or a fictional character that you would bring out for a loved one's visit.
Oh, okay. 1000% Keke Palmer. I love Keke Palmer. And when she revealed herself a few years back as a Survivor fan,
yes,
I was like, yes, Keke, okay. And I honestly, like, truly thinking about it, I mean, Keke has such a great magnetic energy about her. I would love to bring her out as my loved one and pick her brain and be like, hey, put yourself in my shoes. How would you play this game? What would you do next? Because Keke, as a social human, as someone with this positive energy that she just radiates, I mean, I feel like she could win the game. So that's my choice.
Perfect. I hope she's not listening to this saying, like, I don't know who this man is. Sorry to this man. She'll get to know you soon, though, considering he called her out.
I don't know this man.